Good morning and welcome to another COVID-style partner update. I'm so happy to have on the line here Mike Fehnel. Mike is the Vice President and General Manager at Dorney Park and Wildwater Kingdom. And I know this past season looked a little bit more modified for them, but wow, did they adapt and really find, creative and safe ways to still invite patrons to the area. So before I get into that, thank you so much, Mike, for joining us today.
My pleasure to be here. Thanks for asking me.
And not only do you hold that position over at Dorney Park, but you're also the chairman of our board of directors at Discover Lehigh Valley. So you're very entrenched in what we do. And we, of course, as always, appreciate your support in anything that we're doing. It's been just a great partnership throughout this process as we've been learning and shifting and moving forward for not only our residents, but for our visitors. But what I'd like to start off with is not everyone watching or tuning in knows or has visited Dorney Park and Wildwater Kingdom. So if you could just give us an overview and then we'll get into a few more things.
Sure. So, Dorney Park actually, it goes way back into the 1800s. I mean, Lincoln was president the first time people came to this area to Dorney Park to take in, the nature, the stream, the picnics and such. It became a park in 1884, Solomon Dorney. It made it through the Great Depression when so many of the parks around the country, went out of business. And really in 1992, Cedar Fair purchased the property and really invested into the park and kind of made it what it is today. We say we're two parks for the price of one with the water park, which people love to spend all day in the summer. And then, the dry park as well with all of our roller coasters. But we've also expanded our experience. Our culinary team has done a phenomenal job. If you've seen our funnel cakes, our milkshakes, or some of our other concoctions, you definitely need to get one of those. They're all calorie free, I swear. And then, our Halloween haunt has been a mainstay, an amazing event. The team does a great job with that. And we've even dabbled into some other things like Grand Carnival, where we kind of have Mardi Gras take on the top half of the park for a limited time in the summer. So the park has certainly evolved, and there's always something fun to do at the park.
Yeah, and not only have we worked together through your position there on the board, but with you and your team, it's corporate groups, student and youth groups, any celebrations or special events. We really like to promote the park as not only something for a leisure visitor to come to, but for something special. It could even be a game changer when we're looking to book a meeting or an event or a sports group to the Lehigh Valley, knowing that this amusement park is here. It can really set the Lehigh Valley apart. So it's such a gem in the area. So it's really funny because I was speaking with Charlene Donchez from Historic Bethlehem Museums and Sites, and we started talking a little bit about the World Heritage Site and their candidacy for that, and we mentioned the Statue of Liberty. And it's funny because the Statue of Liberty, while it's a World Heritage Site, it has another connection that I always love to promote at Dorney Park there with Steel Force. So Steel Force is one of your roller. Do you want to talk about Steel Force at all?
Well, Steel Force really put us on the map. I mean, I remember back when they told us about the ride, and it was going to start all the way on one side of the park, beyond the Thunderhawk, and go all the way to Hercules and back. And to be honest with you, we didn't believe it because we didn't feel that they built roller coasters that large. We thought it was just a rumor. And, the rumor came true. It's over a mile long. It's taller than the Statue of Liberty. It's an amazing ride and, smooth and fun and lots of airtime. And, you only have to be 48 inches to ride it. So, there's some folks 6-7 years old and it's their first really big, amazing roller coaster. So it's fun to watch the expressions on their faces.
Yeah, 48 inches tall, but you have to have a lot of bravery. That was the one roller coaster when I visited the park. I did my tour of all the coasters, which you have 7 there at the park. But Steel Force was the one that I was second guessing because it is a little crazy. But nonetheless, I rode it and it was very thrilling.
You conquered it.
Yeah, conquered is a great word. So I can see there you're wearing a little pin. Maybe not everyone on the video can view it, but Discover Lehigh Valley launched our Certified Tourism Ambassador program earlier this year and actually kicked it off virtually. And Mike went through the program and is now, yay, a certified tourism ambassador. But it's really interesting when part of the program is to plan itineraries for visitors when they come into town. And Mike, I know I've mentioned this to you before, but Dorney Park and Wildwater Kingdom always make it on the itinerary. So it's really cool. People have a real draw to the park, and they know that visitors, when they come into town, that's a place to take them. So can you talk a little bit just about, what it means to be maybe a CTA, what it means for you and for Dorney Park to kind of be a part of that program?
Sure. So, I'm so happy that we're a part of it, and to hear that we show up on so many itineraries is great. But the fact is, the Lehigh Valley is so vibrant, and there's so much going on in the valley. I'll tell you, I tend to, experience pockets of the valley, but I learned things going through the CTA program, and so many cool restaurants and experiences. And you really kind of have fun planning, itineraries for people so that when they come and they make a multi-day visit in the valley, there's amazing things for them to do, regardless of, their age or their family structure, if it's grandparents visiting or if it's a family with multiple ages of kids, between the Crayola experience and Dorney Park and, just the Iron Pigs, the Phantoms, all of the amazing restaurants and wineries, there's so much to do in the valley. So it was really great to watch. And my wife was excited because she said, all right, now we've got some great restaurants to go and eat at.
That's right. Yeah. And we talked a little bit earlier. You are a lifelong resident of the Lehigh Valley. And I think a big takeaway, while we have a lot of people who do the program, the ambassador program, who are not from the Valley, you are from this area, but even still yet you had some takeaways. So that's just a really cool, we're creatures of habit. I always say that. And so just knowing that you just as a resident and with a big knowledge base of the Valley still took something away from the program is really, really good. So looking ahead to 2021, we talked a little bit about maybe some new things and maybe what the season will look like next year. And of course, we're staying on the pulse of any changes that come down the pipeline. But if you would just talk a little bit about what folks can look forward to in 2021 and how they can engage and come back to Dorney Park.
Sure. Well, I think we're all, there's a lot of uncertainty as always. And we're all hoping that normal comes back to town right away. But when it does, we're going to be ready. And, here at the park, we've already got our plans in place and we're starting to talk about recruiting and getting our teams together. We're looking forward to opening Wildwater Kingdom and Seaside Splashworks, which is going to be, a fun activity area. For a little bit of the younger kids in the water park, there's a whole bunch of water slides on it and different activities with splashing and tipping buckets, and every couple of minutes, about 400 gallons of water will dump on everybody from the giant bucket. So, a whole lot of fun there, and, looking forward to getting back to, the other activities in the park. Like I said, hopefully normal comes back to town.
But indeed. And even if a new normal, as they say, comes back to town, I know that you all have worked really hard to even welcome visitors back in a creative and safe ways, as I already alluded to. So we definitely appreciate that as the tourism promoter of the area. But, it was great to see kind of the initiative that you all took on that front. So let's talk too. You obtain not only a position, here locally in your positions locally, but you're also the first vice president of the Pennsylvania Amusement Parks Association. So can you talk a little bit about that affiliation and what it means?
Sure. So it's actually Pennsylvania Amusement Parks and Attractions, and it did start off as being just amusement parks, but there's so many other groups that join it. It could be zoos, it could be other activity groups, Crayola experience and such. So it's really a network of all of the leadership teams of those parks, and certainly during COVID, we all came together and shared best practices because safety is the number one priority of our entire industry. And, we all kind of compared notes and talked about what kind of modifications we would need to make. We had a lot of guest speakers, some folks, even from abroad that opened up earlier before we did, just kind of seeing what their modifications were and what they would do to make it safe for folks. So it's really, it's a networking organization, a sharing of best practices, and really a lot of it centers around safety.
And you're on the leadership of that forefront and that connectivity network, so we just know that when you do something, it comes from a good knowledge base, and that you're kind of leading the charge. So it's super cool that you're involved beyond the Lehigh Valley. So we kind of thought of some fun questions prior to recording the interview, and for you specifically, I think it's interesting because you do work at an amusement park. What do people think you do at your job as general manager of Dorney Park?
Well, the normal question I get is, what do you do all winter? Because when the park closes, everybody thinks that we just pack up and go home. And there's so much to do. I mean, the park is literally, it's like a city, and we have, carpenters and plumbers and electricians, and there's so much work that needs to be done to get the park ready each year. As the general manager, I work with the leadership team here at the park, and, we execute plans and come up with goals and really strive to make people happy. Really, that's our vision and our mission. And I'm also the liaison to the corporate team. So working through the corporate initiatives and capital planning and budgeting and all the not fun stuff. But really,
so you're not riding roller coasters all day, is what you're saying?
Not all day, but you know what? There's nothing better than taking a walk in the park when we're open and seeing someone celebrating their birthday or riding their very first roller coaster. There's a lot of core memories that are kind of your first memories as a child, and you don't remember every day as you grew up, but you certainly remember the very first roller coaster you ever rode and your first big ride, and a lot of family time and vacations. And that's what we do here at the park, is we make memories, and it's amazing to get to spend your day doing that. So it's a lot of fun.
Definitely. And our charge at Discover Lehigh Valley, we inspire experiences, and as I mentioned before, Dorney Park, it always rises to the surface as an experience that, again, will leave that lasting memory. We'll hopefully get a referral of when a child leaves, or even, their parent, they leave and they tell someone about either the thrilling experience or a fun time they had at the park, that they'll come back. So it's definitely, one of our main, tourism assets that we have here. So, Mike, I appreciate your time again. And is there anything else before we leave today that you'd like to kind of leave our audience with?
I couldn't be prouder of Discover Lehigh Valley and the work that they've done during this COVID pandemic, and really the whole valley as a whole. Everybody's kind of banded together. It's really cool to see how the whole valley has responded, and just couldn't be prouder to be a part of all this, and looking forward to more fun for all.
Definitely, and we, as always, appreciate your support and your leadership as well. So, Mike, until next time, I appreciate your time, and we'll stay tuned to all that you have going on for next season.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody.
Thanks, Mike. Bye.